Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is the most beautiful time of the year. I lie to you not. I have goosebumps and my hairs are rising off of my arm. It is week 1 of the NFL season. It is Awthentik and The Beard. It is the best television show not on television. It is the Parlay. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all are ready. Readier than ever to set those fantasy football lineups. Get your NFL bets in and do it with your boys, Awthentik and The Beard. Without further ado, I must introduce the best co-host, not in the world, not in the country, but the universe. My man, your man, Awthentik. Welcome to the party, sir.
What's poppin', man? I'm just back here just vibing, you know what I'm saying? I'm ready for some football, man. Week 1, the first parlay show of the year, man. First fantasy game of the year. And as a Giants fan, I'm extremely lucky, man. I get to watch all of this go down, possibly, get a good front-running lead in my fantasy league, and possibly maybe a little front-running lead in the NFC East. I'm kind of crossing my fingers, even though I picked the Washington Commanders to win that game. Crossing my fingers that the Cardinals and my man Josh Dobbs could come out here and, maybe put up a little fight today. But I'm excited nonetheless, man. The season is finally here. I was just talking to the homies in the space on Twitter, being like, wow, it went by so fast. It feels like just a couple months ago, we was literally just talking about, the Giants leaving the playoffs and whatnot, getting beat by the Eagles, and Super Bowl talk and whatnot. And here we are, man, 23 season. I'm so ready to go, man. I'm so pumped up. I'm excited to see how these new players translate, and not just for my own team, but across the league. And I'm very excited. You know me, in my fantasy league, I drafted like 5 rookie wide receivers.
Yes.
I'm super excited to see how these rookies are going to do out here today, too, as well.
It's incredible because the rookie wide receiver thing has lasted through 5 seasons of Awthentik and The Beard.
It's crazy. It's really crazy, bro.
But, listen, I'm ready for the quad box. I'm ready for,
Facts.
That red zone. I'm ready for the theme music. I'm ready for so much. I mean, they ask the question, are you ready for some football? I don't even think we need to ask the question.
Kind of overlooked that when he says that, right?
We don't need to ask the question, but we appreciate everybody being here, rocking with us across all the platforms. That's YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere you can find Awthentik and The Beard. We appreciate all the love, all the support. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, all those things that they tell you to do. If you do it, we appreciate it. If you don't, we still love you that you're here rocking with Awthentik and The Beard. I'm going to say some quick shout outs to the people in the chat. First and foremost, do not forget, if you have any fantasy football questions or NFL bet questions, drop those in the chat. We will get through those as the show progresses. We're going to give you guys the top plays at all the positions. We're going to give you guys sleepers. We're going to give you guys the sit-ems. And then we're going to pick each and every single game. So let's say some quick shout-outs. Big shout-out to Chris Peace, who is at FedEx Field right now. He's going to be giving us up-to-the-date weather. It looking like we're going to be okay on the rain here at FedEx Field for the Commanders game.
Yeah, we got a little rain up here.
Yesterday, my power went out. First time in this house that the power has been out.
At least you wasn't live.
That's the first thing that crossed my mind.
Yeah.
Big shout out to C-Bands. Never stay lacking in the building. Always a pleasure. Good to see you.
Good,
Caitlin Dragon 56.
56 in the building. What's good, fam?
Guy. Game day indeed. Big shout out to Coach Taylor. We appreciate you rocking by.
Bro?
Ant McQueen.
Coach Taylor's an enemy today. He's a Dallas Cowboys representative. We some enemies today, Mr.
Ant
Jameson.
McQueen showing a lot of love on Twitter, YouTube. We appreciate all that love. Thank you very much for joining us. Simon C is in the building. Good to see you, Simon. Hope all is well.
What up?
Oh, man, we got to get one of these. It
Already
feels good.
storming.
Get one of these out.
My man, Michael Knight in the building. What's good, fam?
Big shout out to Lax Fo in the building as well. Always a pleasure to see Lax in the building. Edward Squires is in the building as well. Thank you very much for joining us.
What's good, fam? What's
Gregory,
good?
big shout out to Gregory. I saw Gregory chopping it up with Gregory in the chat on the show that Awthentik was on, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, with
Roundtable.
Professor Owen Nix. That was awesome.
That was awesome. Great show. I really enjoyed that. I think there's a lot of level-headedness. Sometimes, we can go to these things and they can get a little crazy, but just good football talk on that show.
That's what my homie Nix was saying. He was like, the Cowboys content creators actually have a lot of people who are kind of like less about the theatrics and the antics and all that stuff and all the beef and whatnot and just want to talk ball. So that was a really good, refreshing conversation. And shout out to my man Skywalker Steele, who was a part of that as well. That was dope.
He's always great to hear talk football.
Facts.
He just talks football. I always enjoy him. Big shout out to Sebastian in the building. My guy. The Bays boy. We got some Commanders love up in the mix.
Hey, the brothers in the building. The brothers is in the building.
Diggy's in the building. Shout out Diggy.
Yes, sir. What up, boy?
Kellen No More also was in that chat as well. Big shout out to Kellen No More. And our first question of the year.
Let's go.
Mr. Finesse wants to know, Mike Williams or DJ Moore? Starting it off right. I love this question.
Yeah, you already know where I'm going with this one. I'm going DJ Moore all day. I'm high on them Chicago Bears this year. Dare I say I think they're going to win that division. I'm not too sure where the Minnesota Vikings are going to land. That's why I'm a little worried about it. But I'm high on the Chicago Bears this year. The Beard knows I looked at a ton. I looked at every snap from Justin Fields' entire career. His leap from year 1 to year 2 was drastic already. A lot of people are overlooking that because they look at the passing numbers from last year. I think that Justin Fields is going to go absolutely off this year. I got DJ Moore and Justin Fields in my lineup this morning, both, going to play that stack role for me. I even got Darnell Mooney on the bench just in case. We doing some things over here, man. Definitely with them Chicago Bears.
I built a lineup today on DraftKings that did have DJ Moore and Justin Fields stack. I also built a lineup on DraftKings that had Justin Herbert and Mike Williams stack. So this question is tough for me. I want to lean DJ Moore, I really do, but I think I need to see 1 week. This is going to be a lot of this sort of theme for week 1, week 2, week 3, I think. You're going to need some sample size. You're going to need some snap counts. You're going to need to see some run-pass ratios. So I'm going to go with Mike Williams for now, but I would not be mad at DJ Moore in this play at all.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. I'm excited about that one, man. Mike Williams, deep down the field kind of threat, man. He does have the possibility to get the bigger plays than DJ Moore, but I think DJ Moore is going to be the focal point of that Bears passing offense.
And big shout out to everybody else in the chat. We appreciate you guys. The Currys, my wife is in the building. Josephine, shout out Josie.
What up,
appreciate
Josie?
you as always. I see Marjorie, our inside reporter, beat on the street for AATB, Authentic and The Beard. We appreciate you as always, Marjorie. Lucas is in the building. I see James Funk checking in from Facebook. Mike K's in the building. Ben B, Brandon. We appreciate all the love. We got another question, and then we're going to get into some other questions. Let me just find that James Funk question. Here we go. Flex 1, Madison, Sanders, or Lockett?
Madison. A lot of people not talking about Miles Sanders like that this year.
No, they're not. And he's coming in a little banged up. He did have an injury designation up until the end of this week.
I know that the Bucs defense was pretty decent last year, but I just think they're going to be struggling entering the year. I'm going to go with Madison on this one.
I'm going to go Tyler Lockett. I love Madison, what he did last year in, the time when Dalvin Cook was hurt. But once again, I got to see where they're going to go with that pass-to-run ratio
week 1, you got to go off of sheer volume a lot of the times, right? Because you got to make the safe bet. And with Lockett, I'm a little worried about that. JSN coming into that lineup, he is healthy. How many targets does he take away from guys like Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf is yet to be known. So I look at the volume, and I think Miles Sanders will get some volume too. But when you look at the Vikings running back room, it's Madison and then what? So I do think he's going to get the bulk load of carries over there today, even though the Bucs defense was pretty decent, middle of the pack type of defense last year, but was on the field a ton.
Yeah. Next question, Madison or Najee Harris?
Steelers going up against the 49ers defense today. That might be tough. Madison. So I think I'm going to go Madison on this one.
Madison. Najee almost made my sit list. He's on the hot seat. As much as I hate to say it, he's on the hot seat.
Hot seat?
Jaylen Warren. Keep your eye out on Jaylen Warren.
I saw Warren last year. He ain't got nothing on Najee Harris, bro. People think that Najee Harris had an extremely down year, but I you know what? We ain't in too much of a rush. Let me pull up his numbers just real quick because I looked these up the other day, and I was surprised to see that there was not much of a drop-off between his rookie year and his sophomore year. So his rookie year, he had 307 carries for 1,200 exact yards. He had 3.9 yards per carry. In 2022, he had 272 carries for 1,034 yards, and the yards per carry was just 0.1 less at 3.8, the exact same amount of touchdowns at 7. So I think that Najee Harris just set the bar a little bit too high, pun intended, on the Authentic and the Beard exit, and he just couldn't eclipse the bar. But he's still right there doing chin-ups on that bar. So I think he'll be good. Just this matchup against this particular defense with the 49ers, we know they're going to come out here ready to take some heads off. So I got to go Madison on that. But I don't know about that Najee Harris on the hot seat thing. I think that's kind of we saw, is it Jalen? Is it Jalen or Jaden Warren? I can't remember.
I think it's Jalen Warren, unless
I think it's Jalen Warren, too. We saw him last year in a couple of games, and he was okay, but he's nowhere near the dynamic kind of running back that Najee Harris is.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Just something to keep your eye on. Just remember that, Beard was dropping some seeds throughout the, early weeks of the season.
I'm going to remember. I'm going to write it down.
I do want to give a big, quick shout out to our guy, Cernock from Cernock's Connection. If you guys are ever wondering where we get some of our T-shirts, our hats, stuff like that, this is the guy right here. He's got an absolutely insane store in his basement. You guys can find him on Instagram. Hit him up on Instagram. He's got an eBay store, Depop, Grailed, all that stuff. So big shout out to my guy, Cernock.
So many people have been asking me about the Harry Carson jersey with the spider patch on it. Even when I first got it, that was the first thing my girl was like, who's the spider patch? And we had to do a little research on that, man. And that jersey so flames. That hat is so fire, man. Thank you again for that, bro. And the gifts that you sponsored last season, all of that. Make sure y'all follow what Cernock is doing over there. And best of luck to your Houston Texans, too, man. I'm a big fan of C.J. Stroud, bro.
Nico Collins season. I'm always a year early on some of these guys.
I'd say you about 2-3 years early on Nico. You've been talking about Nico Collins since Michigan.
Big shout out to our guy. Speaking of giveaway sponsors, our guy over at Vintage Sport Flips. Make sure you guys give him a follow on YouTube as well. It says, can't wait for 1 p.m. Lay this on the birds, fellas. Appreciate it. $4.99 super chat. As always, big shout out to Vintage Sport Flips. Let me make sure I didn't miss any other questions. Here we go. Marjorie wants to know, flex, Terry McLaurin or Dalvin Cook?
It's tough. Ooh. It's tough. I think Dalvin Cook is ready to go, though. I would go Dalvin Cook on this one. I think today is going to be – they're going up against the Cardinals. The Commanders are. So, that could lean towards McLaurin a little bit there. But I do think that people are kind of overlooking that the Cardinals are still an NFL ball club, and they're looking at it like it's an automatic win on everybody's schedule. I heard them talking about this because we played the Cardinals in week 2, my Giants do, and they were just looking at that like it's an automatic win. So, I do think they're going to show up, try to put up a good fight, but I like Dalvin Cook in this matchup a little bit more than I like McLaurin right now coming off the turf toe injury.
I think that the ending right there is all I need really to make this decision. I obviously love Terry McLaurin. I think with the weather coming off the injury, the opponent, I just think that this is a better matchup for Dalvin Cook prime time. I think they're going to be feeding Cook a lot. I do like Dalvin Cook more in this position. And speaking of Scary Terry, how about Scary Terry or George Pickens?
Now that's tough. That's a lot tougher right there. I like the connection between Kenny Pickett and George Pickens a lot. It didn't really yield a lot of fantasy points last year because I had George Pickens on my roster throughout most of the year, and he was doing okay. He'd be around a 10-point kind of game kind of person in PPR leagues. I think with the matchup against the Cardinals, I might lean Terry McLaurin on this one. I don't think you can go wrong either way, though.
Yep, I don't think you can go wrong either way. I think that the Pittsburgh game is going to be low scoring. So I'm going to lean Scary Terry on that one. Another wide receiver question. Chris Peace coming in with the wide receiver 2. Drake London, OBJ, or Jordan Addison. Once again, a tough trio of names to choose from. OBJ is a little banged up. I love Jordan Addison, but still, I need to see what the target share is going to look like for a guy like him in Minnesota. So I'm going to go Drake London, which probably is not as popular as a lot of people may think, but I like Drake London. I think that he's the best option out of these 3 for week 1.
I'd either go Drake London or Jordan Addison. I do think with Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson is going to be taking a lot of attention off of him. And don't forget, they also still got T.J. Hawkinson over there as well, who Kirk Cousins loves to target, which I think will open up some dynamic plays for Jordan Addison. It's tough to go with the rookie in week 1 like this. But I think you kind of know what you're going to get out of Drake London. Drake London's great with the intermediate stuff, tall, high point type of catcher. He can make some plays, but I feel like the volume wasn't a lot for him last season. I might lean towards Jordan Addison on this one here.
Shout out to my guy, HTTC. Beige Boy wants to know Najee Harris or Jamal Williams. I'm going to go on the volume side here. I'm going to go Jamal Williams. He's the guy right now in New Orleans. No Kamara. They're banged up in that running back room. Najee Harris going against the 49ers defense. I'm going to go Jamal Williams.
All right, so I would go Najee Harris just straight up off of default, okay? Because they're going up against – the Saints are going up against the Titans today. And guess who had the number 1 rushing defense in the entire league last year? It was the Tennessee Titans. I think they were allowing just under 80 yards or something like that per game. So watch out for that. It's not a great matchup for the Steelers going up against the 49ers either, but I don't like the situation with Jamal Williams being in a new offense. I think it takes him a couple weeks to get his feet wet. I had some more notes on Jamal Williams too, because I did think about putting him in my sleeper section or in my sit section, and I did. So he had 17 rushing touchdowns last year, right, which is amazing. That led the NFL. In 3 of his last 6 games, though, he averaged under 2.5 yards per carry. So if he doesn't get in the end zone, I don't think you're going to be able to get the points with him, whereas Najee Harris will give you a little bit of, catching the ball out of the backfield, gives you a couple more options to be able to get to that points that you want to hit. So I think I'm going to go Najee Harris, even though he's going up against one of the toughest defenses in the league.
Very good points. Very good points. And speaking of big shout out to Roldy. I see you in the building, Roldy. Big shout out to
What's going on, Roldy?
Appreciate you stopping by. Speaking of very salty. Shout out to Very Salty in that awesome profile pic.
Yeah, that's fire right there.
I love it. This is tough. I love both of these guys this week. Jahan Dotson or Raheem Mostert for a flex. Woo-hoo.
Dolphins going up against the Chargers. That's probably going to be a bit high scoring. They'll have to rely on the run a little bit. It's tough to go wide receiver over running back, but I think I'm going Jahan Dotson over Raheem Mostert today.
I don't think you can go wrong either way here. I'm going to talk about Mostert at some point, obviously today. I'm gonna lean Dotson because I would not be a man of my word if I was not doubling down on the Dotson. So we're doubling down on Dotson, ladies and gentlemen, early and often this year. Speaking of Dotson, Kevin, another Commanders fan in the building, says Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson Jr., or Jalen Hyatt with the cross out.
I know. I wonder how what shortcut got that cross out for you like that. I like that.
Leaning towards B-Rob due to weather. I told Authentic pre-production this morning that I am literally like word for word almost basically said that. Like I love Dotson, I love Robinson. I have a really weird funky feeling about Brian Robinson today. So I might go Brian Robinson, man, but I can't. I'm doubling down on Dotson all season long. So we're gonna go Dotson.
I'm going Brian Robinson. I'm guaranteeing Brian Robinson gets in the end zone today. I'm guaranteeing that. There's no way against this Cardinals team at home he does not get in the end zone as the premier back. They're going to get down there near the goal line. They're going to give him the ball. So I think at bare minimum, you're looking at a guy who's going to be at least pushing double digits fantasy score. I'm going Robinson. I think Jahan Dotson has the potential to have a bigger game and make some bigger plays. Probably put up 2 touchdowns today for real. We know Jahan Dotson can get in that end zone as well. So, but I think Robinson's probably the safer, just more sure bet here.
Big shout out to B-Dog. Says Mark Andrews is out. I have no choice. Noah Fant or Daniel Bellinger.
I kind of like Daniel Bellinger. I think with a lot of attention that is going to be on Darren Waller, Giants are going to be running a lot of 12 personnel. We've seen it in the preseason. We've talked about it all off season. Daniel Bellinger got in the end zone on that first drive where Daniel Jones was 8 of 9 in the preseason. I know it's the preseason, but I think that Daniel Bellinger could be a guy who could get in the end zone. He's not going to give you a ton of volume. He's not going to get a ton of targets, but he could sneak his way into the end zone in this game versus the Cowboys.
Yeah, either one of these guys, you're flipping a coin and you're hoping for a touchdown because there's not going to be much volume for either one of them. So I think that
who's out there? The Carolina Panthers tight end, Hayden Hurst, I believe. He's been out there in a lot of leagues. So, I mean, if you need somebody that you could scoop up, I think Hayden Hurst might be a better option than maybe both of these guys today with a rookie quarterback out there, not going up against a great defense today either.
And there's a couple other guys that you might be able to look for, too. The tight end for Green Bay Packers, Christian Watson's going to be out. Romeo Doubs is banged up, so that's an option as well. And if he's out there, Jawan Johnson, tight end for the New Orleans Saints. He's another guy that I would keep an eye on also. So just to kind of throw some more wrenches into your dilemma there, just in case, have some other options out there. James Funk wants to know, Mostert, Gibson, or Dotson? Jeez, you guys, there's a lot of Mostert and Dotson options going on out here. I'm going to go...
I'm going Dotson because we did Dotson. Raheem versus Dotson, right? Already we picked Dotson. You add Gibson to the mix. I think we got to go with Dotson here.
James Jones wants to know 3 wide receivers to start. Garrett Wilson, Debo, Scary Terry, DJ Moore, and Brandon Cooks. I'm going to give you Garrett Wilson. I'm going to give you DJ Moore. And I'm going to give you Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, that's it. That's really it. Brandon Cooks going up against 2 rookie cornerbacks today. With Adoree Jackson in the slot today, kind of looking at CeeDee Lamb, I think Brandon Cooks has an opportunity to have a big game. If it's not Brandon Cooks, it's going to be Jake Ferguson.
Alex Smith, big shout out to Alex Smith, wants to know PPR, Kenneth Walker or Najee. I'm going Kenneth Walker all day.
Yeah, I'm with you. Kenneth Walker for sure. The matchup is better.
Diggy's got a tough one here. Saquon versus Pollard on most yards from scrimmage.
Tony Pollard led the NFL in yards from scrimmage last year with 5.9 per touch. I think it's a coin toss here because the Giants might rely on Saquon a little bit more today, especially with the weather. I do think Saquon is the back that it can be more consistent, but Tony Pollard has the bigger play opportunities, I feel like. Tony Pollard is known to just take those big plays, but Saquon, we know we'd be waiting for one to break. So can't go wrong here, I don't think. The only thing you got to worry about with Tony Pollard is coming off that ankle injury last year. How slow does he get a start to the beginning of the season? I'm going with Saquon on this one just because it's week one, man. Be confident in your team. See what you got in Saquon Barkley, and then if you got both of them on your team, you can make that decision next week.
I wish I could help you on this bet and just say Saquon with Awthentik here. I just think Pollard is going to be a huge part of this offense. So I just think, like, statistic-wise, like from a betting standpoint, I think I'm going to have to go Pollard. But that's tough. That's a really tough bet.
It's tough, but it's a good spot to be in. If your running back room is looking like that should help you win some games.
Brian Robinson or Najee Harris. I'm going Brian Robinson all day.
Yeah, Brian Robinson in this one. Yep.
Corey, this is an absolutely great question. I'm going to talk to Awthentik about maybe making a video about this.
Yeah, we should do that
to put out this week. So let us get back to you on this one. Maybe stay tuned.
I can give you an answer right now. I can give you an answer right now. I mean, I drafted damn near every rookie wide receiver. Look, I got Tank Dell on my squad. I got Quentin Johnston on my squad. I got Jackson Smith-Njigba on my squad. I got Zay Flowers on my squad. I really went after these rookies. For me, I think the best rookie is either going to be between Zay Flowers and Smith-Njigba. Those are the two I think. But Quentin Johnston, I'm going to get to this a little bit later. You got to think about the injury issues that the Chargers have had in the past couple of years, which could open up a major opportunity for him. But as of right now, if I had to make a true statement on it today, I would say Zay Flowers.
If I'm forced to say a name right now, I would also say Zay Flowers. He's a guy that Awthentik and I talked at length about this morning pre-production. Yeah. So we both are really high on Zay Flowers. Matt Stafford or Dak Prescott?
I'd go Dak Prescott. No Dak Cooper Prescott. Kupp. No Cooper Kupp for Matt Stafford today.
Dak Prescott, you're right.
It's a tough matchup for them. They're going up against the Seahawks today. That pass defense wasn't terrible last year. It was more their run defense. They were like middle of the pack as far as pass defense goes. And they upgraded the cornerback position as well through the draft. I like Tariq Woolen. Yeah, I'm not going Matthew Stafford. I go Dak Prescott. I think if anything, he's going to get into a shootout with Daniel Jones, or the Cowboys are going to control that game. Big shout out to Sal. See you in the building. We are both big believers on Tank. We are both big believers on Tank. That guy has big play written all over him. Love Tank. And the special teams, capabilities as well. Yeah, he's a dog. JJ Stengel is going to round us out with the first batch of questions. Chris Olave, DeAndre Hopkins, or George Pickens? I'm going Chris Olave on that one. Michael Williams is back. D-Hop. Give me Chris Olave. Titans' pass defense was not that good. That's where they lacked. So I think the Saints are going to be able to throw the ball today. Yeah, give me Chris Olave. That's where I'm gonna go as well. So if you guys have more questions throughout the stream, please make sure to drop those in the comment section. We will get to those as we progress through the show. But right now, we're gonna start it off with one of the tougher decisions that we had to make going into week one, and this is gonna be guys that we have to sit. So who are trying to read your cadence there, but you kind of leave me hanging on to who we go and who I'm like, dog, when is this? Sorry, I'll make sure to get more Migos with the cadence. It's early in the year, man. The chemistry, we don't quite got the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase thing going on right now. We kind of looking like, Kadarius Toney and Patrick Mahomes right now. No. Don't do that to us. Do not do that to us. All right, so right now we're going to give you guys a couple of guys that we think are going to be must-sits. Obviously, this is one of the tougher things to decide because you don't want to be a guy that leaves points on your bench in week one, but also you don't want to be a guy that starts Sky Moore or
Kadarius Toney in week 1. So these are going to be.
I know some of those guys too.
I did it. I sat him. Thank God.
I already learned my lesson with Kadarius Toney and the injuries, man. Not for fantasy. I wish him well, and I hope he does well over there in Kansas City. But when it comes to fantasy, I'm not touching Kadarius Toney.
So I'm going to go ahead and give you my 3 guys who I'm going to be sitting first. The first guy I'm going to be sitting is going against my Washington Commanders, who I think is probably going to be the number 1 owned defense in daily fantasy teams this week. And I think it's going to also probably be the number 1 scoring defense in fantasy football this week. Fingers crossed. So I'm going to go ahead and sit James Conner, which may sound a little crazy just because James Conner is probably the offense for the Arizona Cardinals. They're going into this game banged up. Marquise Brown had an injury designation. Zach Ertz had an injury designation. You know, the quarterback situation is going to be Joshua Dobbs. The Commanders' defense on paper is really, really good. Obviously, no Chase Young for this week and probably next week. But I feel like he's running into a no-win situation. That place is going to be absolutely insane today. I really expect Washington just to come out on the sure will of like intimidation and just like hunger for this fan base. We got a bunch of legends in the building. So I'm going to sit James Conner. I just don't think that Arizona offense is going to get a lot together. I think you have just a lot better options at the running back position. At the quarterback position, listen, I'm sitting Brock Purdy, okay? I'm sitting Brock Purdy against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. My guy, Watt. That's all I'm going to say. Watt.
You know how when you can sense the underlying tones, right? Like a person don't got to tell you how they feel about somebody.
Oh, I know.
They can show you, right? The Beard don't like Brock Purdy. The Beard does not like Brock Purdy. He is not rooting for that guy to win.
I am not a big Brock Purdy fan. I
don't know what it is. I
gotta
don't
give
know
him
what it is. Like, you really don't like that guy. You treat Brock Purdy like you treat Taylor Heineke. I don't know, dog.
I told Awthentik maybe like a week or so ago that I think that Sam Darnold is going to end up being the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers over Brock Purdy. So I'm sitting in Brock Purdy. I don't like that matchup for San Francisco in Pittsburgh. I think Watt's going to eat all day. And then in that same game, you know, I went back and I looked at some of the old parlays, and Deontay Johnson was a guy that Awthentik and I were just back and forth on all year because he was on Authentic's team. And in one episode, he was like, I damn near dropped Deontay Johnson last week.
I thought about it, man.
It's tough because I think that, you know, he's going to have a good year. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. But I think Pickens is Pickett's guy, and I think this game's going to be ugly, low scoring. So I'm going to sit Deontay Johnson. Those are going to be my 3 sits for week 1.
Yeah, I don't got 3 quite. And I don't like to do it by position because I feel like I'll be reaching, trying to just find me a quarterback or find me. So for me, I got 2 guys this week, and they're both running backs. Jamal Williams, I know you talked about him. For me, he's somebody that I'm sitting versus Tennessee. I talked about that in the opener. You know, number 1 rush defense last year in the league. New team for Jamal Williams. You know, 17 touchdowns last year and all that. That's cool. But the 2.5 yards per carry in 3 of his last 6. And he was under 3 yards per carry in 4 of his last 6. I think that's something to keep your eye on. See, you know, it's like Jamal Williams is a good goal line running back, but I don't know if he has the skill set in all the other departments. We'll see. I think he'll have a slow start to the year. And the other running back for me is Dameon Pierce versus Baltimore. First of all, Lamar Jackson just goes completely apeshit against the Houston Texans. That's just how Lamar Jackson does. And when we talk about quarterbacks, I'll bring up some of those numbers. Now, Dameon Pierce, he handled 74.3% of Houston's rushing attempts over his 13 games last year. I think that that's going to change drastically this year. They brought in Devin Singletary from Buffalo, and they brought in Mike Boone from Denver. And if you remember, Mike Boone got a couple carries last year, showed that he can run the ball tough as well. Mike Boone, okay? Now, Ravens had the 3rd best rush defense in 2022. Me and the Beard talked about how we don't like to carry things too much over from the last season, but they were only allowing 89.8 yards per game last year. So I look for the Ravens to be able to stop Dameon Pierce today. And also, you know, having a little bit of competition in that backfield is definitely going to hurt his volume as well.
Yeah, and he's a guy that's been a little tough for me lineup-wise early here, Dameon Pierce, because he ended up falling to me in positions where I was like, I don't have a running back, and I just kind of need a running back. And I like Dameon Pierce.
Weren't the running backs, didn't it feel like a little slim during the draft? Like once you get past 2nd round, 3rd round, it's like, damn, who else can I find out here? I mean, I was drafting all these wide receivers because I'm the kind of guy in my drafts, I go, best player available for the most part. I'm trying to get the best players. I looked up, I didn't have one running back on my bench after the draft. I was like, damn, I got to hit the market and try to find some people, try to make some trades. Thank God the Beard blessed me with one of who I thought could have been one of his sleepers today. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. But definitely blessed me on that one. We'll see how it goes and how things pan out for the year as far as running back goes.
A couple other questions we got. James Funk says, Flex 1. My guy Reed for Green Bay Packers, Brandon Ayuk, Smith and Jigba, Addison, Zay Flowers, or Charbonnet.
Charbonnet, what the last name? I go Brandon Ayuk, I think. Yeah, I'd go Brandon Ayuk. And if it's not Brandon Ayuk, I think Jordan Addison can have a big game today too.
I'm gonna go. I can't say I'm gonna sit Purdy and then go Ayuk, but I do like Ayuk more than Debo this week.
You could go Zay. You could go Zay. See, it's weird because the general consensus around Zay Flowers is he's going to have 7 points today, pretty much, and I don't see it.
I don't see it either. I see more. You know what? Let's let the people know. We're believers in Zay Flowers. Play Zay Flowers today.
Play Zay Flowers. Yeah, and then you can tell them Authentic and The Beard told you. But if Zay Flowers put up a dud, don't come back to the comments talking about, y'all told me. Don't do it.
Up next, we got Jared McDonald wants to know Hopkins, Jamal Williams, or Captain Christian Kirk at flex.
Give me Captain Kirk. Yeah, I'm going Kirk
all day. Love me some Christian Kirk. Up next, we got B-Dog. Wants to know, I'm starting Deontay Johnson as a flex right now, but I have Rashad Bateman, Jonathan Mingo, Paris Campbell, Deion Jackson. Should I even consider starting someone else?
What you think?
I love Mingo. He's stashed in a couple of my teams, but I need to know where they're going with that offense first because my guy, of all guys, Laviska Shenault Jr. and Terrace Marshall Jr., I love me some juniors. They might have, an opportunity here to make some noise in Carolina this year, finally. Yeah. But Bateman is a wild card. Paris Campbell, I kind of like Paris Campbell. Deion Jackson would be the only person I would consider putting in my flex over Deontay Johnson out of those options.
Most definitely, and I think it's a volume thing here. I think it'd be a good bet to put Deion Jackson ahead of Deontay Johnson today. I really do. Colts are going to come out here, and if you looked at what happened with them in the preseason, man, teams were extremely off balance with the read option coming from Anthony Richardson. It seemed like he could hand it off to the running back every time because it seems like teams are being coached to make sure to not let Anthony Richardson get outside of the contain. So I think the running backs over there are going to eat. Deion Johnson being the guy who's going to get most of the volume, I would make the swap, actually. It'd be risky, but I would make that swap.
I'm right there with you. Up next, we got Simon. Wants to know pick 2, Scary Terry, Javonte Williams. Love Javonte Williams. I hope he has a bounce back year. Pickens, Drake London, JSN. He needs 2 to flex. I'm gonna go Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
And Drake London. That's tough, but I think that's where I'm going to go.
It's really tough. I think I'm going to go Javonte Williams because you got to have a running back there. I mean, get to the goal line. He should be able to get a touchdown. And I'm going to go Terry McLaurin. Out of these names, I think I'm going to go Terry McLaurin.
He was definitely a guy that I was considering there, absolutely, for sure. So now that we've given you our sits, I think we're going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of some sleepers. These are our sleepers for week 1.
Hit me.
Hit me! Authentic, we're gonna start with you, my friend. Give me some sleepers for week 1.
I got you. I got a couple here. I scooped this one just a couple of minutes ago. Seattle's defense today versus the Rams, man. Run defense last year was not that great. Pass defense, middle of the pack, but Seattle was tied for 9th in takeaways last season. And y'all know Matthew Stafford. Y'all know what he was doing with the ball last year. He's not going to have his number 1 guy in Cooper Kupp. I love Seattle's defense today, and they were just out there just chilling out there for me to just scoop them up a second ago. So I got them. I also like Isaiah Hodgins, man. Not enough people are talking about Isaiah Hodgins. He scored 15.4, 15.8, 22.9, and 14.2 points in 4 of the Giants' last 6 games, and in 8 games throughout the year, he scored 4 touchdowns. You double that up, Isaiah Hodgins might be able to get you at least 8 touchdowns on the year and be pushing somewhere around 800 yards. He had 33 receptions on 42 targets. I think he's a guy, maybe not for today per se, but definitely for the rest of the year. And I talked about this a little earlier. I like Quentin Johnston. Since 2020, Keenan Allen has missed 10 games. Mike Williams has missed 6 games. Quentin Johnston is a great pick if he's out there to be able to stash on your bench for sure. Now, another one. This is going to be one that's for, I'd say, maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the line, actually. I can't be giving you no day one sleepers because we really don't know what's going to happen today on football Sunday. But a deep sleeper, I'm talking like hitting the snooze button 5 times, Justice Hill from the Ravens. He's 3rd on the depth chart right now, but I think he's the reason why Melvin Gordon was cut because he looked so impressive in camp. I see him climbing this depth chart throughout the year. Ravens running backs seem to always be hurt. We know how that goes. I don't know if that's a Lamar Jackson type of thing. And Justice can catch the ball out of the backfield, so I definitely like him. So Seattle's defense, Justice Hill, Quentin Johnston, and my man, New York Giants, Isaiah Hodgins. Those are my 4 for today, sleepers-wise.
I got a couple of guys that we've already talked about. The first one's going to be Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. Christian Watson is out in this game. Dobbs is also banged up. Jordan Love, I am very, 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 very high on Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love is going to have a breakout year this season. They had a great offseason chemistry, Jayden Reed and Jordan Love. So I like Jayden Reed in a spot matchup this week. I definitely really like Jayden Reed in DraftKings and FanDuel lineups for sure. Another guy that we've talked heavily about is Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert is the guy in Miami. I mean, there's nobody else. And the other rookie running back, I think
they still got, what's my man, Salvan Ahmed?
I love Salvan Ahmed out
he
of University of Washington.
Carries.
He just kind of bumps in there sometimes. You're like, you totally forgot he was there. But yeah, he was a great running back out of University of Washington. I like Salvan a lot. But Jeff Wilson's on the IR, and the other rookie running back that they drafted that a lot of people were super high on, he's not going to be playing. I believe he's already been ruled out, if I'm not mistaken. So Raheem Mostert's going to be the guy. So, and I love him. We talked about his versatility. That game's going to be high scoring. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He can do goal line. He's got speed. He's a guy. I expect Raheem Mostert to be a very, very popular play today. And my last sleeper for the week is going to be none other than Sam Howell's father, Mr. Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is going to Baker Mayfield is going to be my sleeper this week. I think he's going to be going up against a pretty, a bad defense from last year. We'll say that. Bad defense from last year in the Minnesota Vikings, who allowed the 3rd most yards to wide receivers last year. So I think Baker has an opportunity here. He's under the gun, obviously, with Kyle Trask behind him. So I think Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans in contract year, he didn't get that money that he wanted to before the season started. So we're not going to be talking about that at all during this season. So there's an opportunity here for Baker Mayfield to put up some points. I think that game's going to be high scoring.
Real quickly, what do you think Brian Flores brings to that defense? You think they get better this year? You think the Vikings defense, pass defense specifically, which we know New York Giants going against them in the playoffs, very fraudulent pass defense, you think they're going to get better?
I do. I think a change in philosophy and a new coach, I think they're definitely – you'll see improvements. How much you don't know because you can only do so much with the personnel changing. So
and I always thought they had some talent. Like up front, they have decent talent when they're healthy.
They're turnaround of a good defensive team to a bad defensive team happened very fast. It felt like overnight.
Yeah.
So, but I do think there'll be some improvements there. But week 1, we don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, and I don't think you're going to have a lot of evidence on that until a couple of weeks. Obviously, Tampa Bay's offensive line is banged up. Baker's there. I mean, they still have the weapons on the outside. It's gonna be interesting to see how Rachaad White does at the running back position for Tampa Bay as well. So it's gonna be interesting. I think that game might be a little bit under the radar. That Tampa Bay Minnesota game for sure. So that's where I'm gonna go for my sleepers. Let's go ahead and get to some questions really fast here in the chat. Excuse me. Big shout out to Leroy. Will Jones wants to know Michael Pittman or Jahan Dotson. Pittman's the only guy it feels like right now for the Colts offense outside of Anthony Richardson. So I'm going to go Jahan Dotson. I think Pittman's going to just be blanketed all game.
Pittman was up there in receptions last year, so PPR league, I mean, it's definitely something you want to consider. And like you said, not many other weapons, but I didn't see the chemistry from Anthony Richardson and Michael Pittman early on in preseason. And Alec Pierce also, he was struggling. He had some drops in the preseason as well. I think the safe bet will be Jahan Dotson going up against the Cardinals today.
Yep. Big shout out to C-Bands. Never stay lacking. Says, what's good? He choose 2. Waddle, Dotson, Flowers. Judy is out. So you're basically going to be choosing between Waddle, Dotson, and Flowers, which is very tough. I love all 3 of those guys, but I'm going to give you Waddle and Dotson.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah,
that's a tough one though. But don't forget, play Zay Flowers. We're preaching to the people. Play Zay Flowers.
Put somebody on Monday night in your flex or something. Do something where you could try to figure out a way to squeeze Zay Flowers in that lineup.
Up next, big shout out to James Funk. He has Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. Stash him for trade bait. I'm gonna go Josh Allen until I see how healthy Joe Burrow is. I know it's probably not gonna be an issue, but I'm still gonna go Josh Allen until I see Joe Burrow.
Here. Allen's running capabilities make him a higher potential for a fantasy quarterback.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Lucas, checking in from Australia. Hey, AATB. Breece Hall, Brian Robinson, or Khalil Herbert? I love Khalil Herbert. Breece Hall is a little banged up, and then you got Dalvin Cook. But I think volume-wise, I don't know. I like Brian Robinson. I had this gut feeling this morning when I woke up. I'm going Brian Robinson.
I noticed today you've been scared to say Brian Robinson on a lot of these, hey, pick 2, pick 3s. I'm going Brian Robinson here. Volume, Breece Hall, like you said, coming in a little banged up from last year's injury. Khalil Herbert could have a damn day, though. That's for sure.
He's a guy.
The Packers defense has not played well against Justin Fields. They did get 2 late interceptions on him in their last matchup, but I just think with that balance of Justin Fields, DJ Moore, and Khalil Herbert, it's going to be tough to stop all 3 of them. So Khalil Herbert I'd either go Brian Robinson or Khalil Herbert.
Up next, C-Bands back again. Says, thoughts on my running backs. Austin Eckler, Najee Harris, or James Conner. That one is easy for me. I like Eckler. I think you just want to know how you feel about your running backs. I think that James Conner and Najee are going to be volume guys as long as Warren doesn't take away from Najee. But I think James Conner is he's going to be a workhorse this year. And I love Austin Eckler. That guy is like 2 guys in one position. If he can, get a little bit more burn on the ground, I think he'll be even better this year.
Yeah, I like your running back room. I mean, Austin Eckler, obviously the running back 1 here, has the potential to catch the ball out of the backfield. I want to say it was 124 targets this past season. He was Justin Herbert's number 1 target as well. Average depth of target was negative 0.98 yards. It's crazy. They're just throwing him checkdowns all day long. So PPR all day. I like Najee Harris. I don't know this Warren narrative that the Beard is trying to throw out here. I don't think that's going to come to fruition at all. And James Conner, I mean, that's all they got. They got to lean on him. So I'd give your running back room a good, I'd say a B, a solid B.
Big shout out to C-Bands. Never stay slacking. Up next, we got Darius Ralston. Says Mingo or Nico in the flex and Herbert or Dalvin at RB2. This one for me is pretty easy. I love Mingo as a stash. Nico is a play right now. Love Herbert all day long, but Dalvin is a play right now. So I'm going to go Dalvin Cook and Nico Collins for this week.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You handle that.
Big shout out to Darius. Up next, our guy, Zach G. Curtis Samuel or Evan Ingram as a flex. I love Curtis Samuel. I think he's going to be a guy, obviously this offense, I think is going to be super high powered, a lot better than the lowest scoring predicted offense by ESPN. But I got to go Evan Ingram in the flex. I just think this guy's going to have a huge year. It's tough because Calvin Ridley is back now, but I just think Jacksonville Jaguars are going to end the year with a top 5 offense in the NFL.
Quite possible. It all, depends on what Ridley brings to the table, how much that takes away from Evan Ingram. Back-to-back seasons, good ones for Evan Ingram has been tough. This one is tough right here. I think Curtis Samuel's going to get a lot of short passes. He's going to probably be used a little bit in the, jet sweep type of running action. This one's tough. I think I'm going to go Curtis Samuel. I like the matchup against the Cardinals a little bit better.
Big shout out to Zach. We appreciate you. And Zach has activated the singing with a 99-cent. It's a super sticker. Super sticker. That sticker super, yeah. Big shout out to Zach G with a 99-cent super sticker. We appreciate the love, my guy.
Appreciate that, fam. Definitely appreciate
Big
that.
shout out to Lucas. Our guy, Lucas. Shout out to Lucas with the $3.05 super chat representing for the 305, the Miami Dolphins. Says, Beard, give me that DraftKings low salary
We
sleeper.
talked about this off air before we came on. You had one. I don't know if you're going to use that same one, but.
Well, Washington Commanders is a very low salary. They're very undervalued, but the problem is everybody's going to be playing the Washington Commanders as far as that goes. I'm looking through some of my lineups right now. Isaiah Likely also probably going to be heavily played. I think Reed is probably going to be one of my guys. Jaden Reed is probably going to be one of the low-key guys. Zay Flowers is very under salary as well. Man. Zay Flowers is very under salary as well. Kyle Pitts, he's a guy that I think everybody's just kind of like giving up on. He is like one of the cheaper tight end options. And with all these guys who are out this week with Mark Andrews and, other tight ends that are banged up, Kyle Pitts might be a guy. And Njoku's also another one, Cleveland Browns to keep your eye out on at tight end position. Marvin Mims Jr., wide receiver, Denver Broncos. There's going to be no Jerry Jeudy. He's probably going to be wide receiver number 2. So I think Mims, Jaden Reed, those are going to be some of my guys. Tight end, Kyle Pitts, David Njoku. And then obviously, the power play is going to be Washington Commanders because they're only like 2,800, I believe, on DraftKings this week. So that's going to be some of my low salary sleepers. We're going to be finding out a little bit more about some of these guys, and those salaries are going to change drastically moving into week 2. But we appreciate a super chat for the 305 holding it down for Lucas. MIA. Appreciate you, my guy. All right, it's time to move into some of our top plays for week 1. We're going to start off at the quarterback position. These are your top plays for quarterback position week 1.
Hit me.
Mr. Awthentik, quarterback position, a position that Awthentik has played in his previous tenures as a football player.
Facts.
So,
I was kind of nice.
Let's hear what we got from number 4, Awthentik, for the top quarterbacks in week 1.
All right, let's kind of go like in a backwards kind of an order here. A lot of people might disagree with this one, but I like Kirk Cousins up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers simply off the fact that Justin Jefferson is going to eat today. And first rounder Jordan Addison, man, he's an upgrade from the aging Adam Thielen. I think he's got some great weapons over there. You could question what's happening at the running back position, which will probably lean towards Kirk Cousins throwing the ball a little bit more. TJ Hawkinson as well. That should take some attention off of Jefferson as well. And I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a big day. Let's not forget, last time you saw Kirk Cousins was in the playoffs against the New York Giants. And I think a lot of people overlooked how great of a game he had that day because of how things ended. That defense definitely didn't hold him down. But I like Kirk Cousins in that third spot. I also like Lamar Jackson going up against the Houston Texans today, who have a new coach. Shout out to D'Amico Ryans one time. Jackson has a passer rating of 134.5. against Houston in the 2 games that he's played against them. 426 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2 games. 0 interceptions in his career versus them. His rushing numbers in the first game, this was in 2019, he had 10 attempts for 79 yards. And in 2020, he had 16 attempts for 54 yards. Lamar Jackson, listen, both of the games they played against the Houston Texans were blowouts. One of them was 41-7. So I think Lamar Jackson is going to go crazy. And last but certainly not least, my man Justin Fields. I told you I'm all in on the Chicago Bears, like straight up. Fields struggled a little bit last year against the Green Bay Packers. He was pressured on 40% of his dropbacks in that game. He's had 0 passing touchdowns in the 2 games versus them, 3 interceptions. Now, I did go in and watch all of the snaps from both of these games. If you go back and you look at the start that Justin Fields had in the second game against the Green Bay Packers, he was on fire. He was running the ball, intermediate throws, check downs, deep down the field. Late in the game, his defense couldn't hold him down. He was put in a position where they were down by 2 scores, having to throw the ball, forced 2 interceptions late. Ended up not having a great day, but he did have an 80% completion percentage in the second matchup when he threw the 2 interceptions. I think this is going to be a big leap year for Justin Fields as well. And then DJ Moore, we saw it in the preseason with the screens, the short throws, how he can take those and he can turn that into extra yak. I got Justin Fields being the top, literally the top quarterback after fantasy week 1.
There's a lot of people in the chat right now who are Bears fans who are shouting out some of your takes. I know Joe Deals is in the building. Dan and Demand is in the building, says the Bears. Big shout out to my guy Sean. I saw him put in the chat, and this kind of goes back to what Lucas was asking. He said Geno Smith to the moon. I like Geno Smith's matchup today. I did build a lineup on DraftKings with Geno Smith, so shout out to Geno Smith. My top guys, I'm going to start off with in no particular order, Mr. Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, okay, that game is probably one of the higher over-under total points matchups on the slate today. I think last I checked, the over-under was 51 points. When Justin Herbert starts a game and the over-under is 47 or more, he's averaging 22 fantasy points per game. So I'm going to go with Justin Herbert as one of my quarterbacks in this matchup. Obviously, Authentic already talked about Lamar Jackson. Love Lamar Jackson. I think this is the best lineup of weapons he's had in his career, which should scare people. Now, albeit there's no Mark Andrews today, I love what Lamar Jackson gives you on the ground and in the air. Last year, he averaged 63.5 yards rushing per game as a quarterback. So, listen, double down on Lamar Jackson. You're probably not going to get him any cheaper than he is this week on DraftKings either. So, I would build a lineup with Lamar Jackson just because you can, okay?
I almost put Lamar Jackson in the top running back section because he's going to go crazy on the ground. He's going to go crazy.
I love it, love it, love it. And then last but certainly not least, I talked about how I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be a top 5 offense in the league this year. I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence. Love the matchup. Love that they got Calvin Ridley back this year. He's projected for around 20 points fantasy, so I'm going to go with my guy Trevor Lawrence in the mix. Those are going to be our top quarterback plays, and then we're going to get to some of these questions really fast, and then we'll move on to some running backs and wide receivers.
Real quickly on the poll, real quick, before you go into that.
Oh, yes, I forgot
38% got Justin Herbert as the number 1 fantasy quarterback ending the year. Second place was Lamar Jackson, and tied for third was Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields with 15% each.
Shout out to the graphics department and the poll workers. We appreciate those of you that
Big
are working
facts.
the polls for us. And if you're in the chat, make sure you guys are taking participation in those polls because, you know, you have the right. You have fought for the right to vote.
You have the right.
Vote. We love you guys. Big shout out to C-Bands. Never stay lacking. Says pick 2. Waddle, Dotson, Flowers. Oh, we did that one. I forgot to unstar that. My bad, C-Bands. Okay, here we go. My guy, Beast of Beard. And if you guys aren't following Beast of Beard and on whatnot, following him on Instagram, big shout out to Beast of Beard. And appreciate you stopping by, checking in early on the West Coast in Seattle or Washington. Excuse me. Says Nico Collins or Brandon Cooks. I love Nico, but you got to go Brandon Cooks, I think, here. Got to go Brandon Cooks.
You got to go Brandon Cooks, most definitely.
Big shout out to Juan Pena Jr. Says, who for my flex and who should I use for trade bait? I got Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs in my running back spots. Who for my flex? I got Dalvin Cook, James Conner, Gibson, and A.J. Dillon. Antonio Gibson is not talked about enough. I'm very high on Antonio Gibson this year. He's going to be a like everything you can imagine sort of guy. I think he's perfect for Eric Bieniemy's offense. I saw Beige Boy question that earlier in the chat. As far as running in your flex, you got to go Dalvin Cook week 1.
I think it's a toss-up between Dalvin Cook and he's got A.J. Dillon. I thought he had he does have Aaron Jones as well, but not for the flex. Am I correct here?
Yeah, though he has Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs are already starting in his running back position.
I love Aaron Jones this week. I think for the flex, then I got to go Dalvin Cook. If Aaron Jones was one of the possibilities, I'd say you have a tough matchup there. But, I got to go Dalvin Cook on that.
Up next, James Funk wants to know, with Mark Andrews out, Isaiah Likely or Luke Musgrave? I love Luke Musgrave. I talked about him a little bit earlier, but I think you got to go Isaiah Likely. I just think he's a plug and play. If you look at his numbers on the games where Andrews was out last year, one game he got a touchdown, the other game he put up 19 fantasy points. So I think I'm going to go Isaiah Likely in this situation.
Yeah, Likely's a beast, man. He could start on another team in the league, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Juan's got one more, wants to know who for my wide receiver 2 spot. Already got Justin Jefferson. I'm left with Mike Williams, Lockett, Cooks, and Jacoby Myers. I'm going to go Mike Williams.
You like Mike Williams. Yeah, I like Mike Williams too. Either Mike Williams or Brandon Cooks. I think Brandon Cooks is due for a big day simply off the strength that Adoree Jackson will be in the slot and probably following CeeDee Lamb around a lot, which leaves Brandon Cooks going up against 2 rookies today. Deonte Banks, and then also Trey Hawkins, who was a 6th-round pick as well. So that it could be an interesting first game. Brandon Cook's probably a little bit more risky, but the reward could be a lot higher.
And it looks like the chat is saying that Darren Waller is expected to.
Yeah, they already named that he was going to play. Yep.
So just wanted to throw that out there to everybody. All right, let's go ahead and run into the next section with the top running back plays for week 1. Hit me. one where we're a little bit, I think we're 3 for 3 on different running backs here. So I'm going to go ahead and start you guys out with my running backs. I'm going to start off with Josh Jacobs. Love Josh Jacobs this week. I hate to do this, normally wouldn't, but in week 1 I will do this. I'm going to base this off of his matchups against this Denver Broncos team last year. I know we got a new head coach, but I think the difference you're going to see in the Denver Broncos team is going to be more so on the offensive side of the ball. Nothing against the Denver Broncos defense, but Josh Jacobs tends to play well against Denver. Last year, Josh Jacobs in 2 games had 30 touches overall, 168 total yards, and 26.8 fantasy points. So I'm going to go Josh Jacobs as one of my running backs to must play this week. Next up is going to be somebody we talked about a lot this day already. It's going to be Brian Robinson. I don't know. I don't have a statistical reason or anything like that. I just woke up this morning.
That's interesting. That's very, because every time somebody has said Brian Robinson today, I feel like you kind of shying away from it, trying to pick the other player. But you got Brian Robinson in your top running backs of all running backs. Okay?
I do.
It's
tough. It's tough when you put it against other people. Sometimes, I might really like a guy, but you might have a guy that I like a little bit more, and it's tough for me to go with my guy.
But
and
not enough to put him in your top 3.
But not enough. Yeah,
I like it. I like it.
I wanted to put this out here just in case he goes absolutely crazy, because I just woke up this morning. I went to 7-Eleven, 7:30.
Where'd you go?
Just 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven. Okay.
Went to 7-Eleven around 7:30 this morning, and I just said, it feels like a Brian Robinson day. So I put him in my top 3. That's about all I got for you.
Feels like a Brian Robinson kind of day.
And it's just, I don't know what it is. I think they're going to get up early, and they're going to probably, show some love to Brian Robinson in the run game. And then last but certainly not least, I love Joe Mixon. I think Joe Mixon is going to have a bounce back year. I love Joe Mixon's ability to catch the ball, run the ball. No Samaje Perine behind him right now. He's off in Denver now. So I just really like Joe Mixon. I think they're going to ease Joe Burrow back from this injury. So that kind of gives me a little bit of Joe Mixon heavy sort of game. So that's where I'm going to go with my top 3 running backs this week.
I like it, man. For me, I got to go with 2 players that are going to be in one game. I'm going Saquon Barkley and Tony Pollard in this matchup. Dallas headed to MetLife to take on my New York Giants. Saquon Barkley, Dallas rush defense was ranked 22nd last season, 124.4 yards per game. If they have a weak spot on that defense, especially bringing in now Stephon Gilmore to help out that secondary and that CB2 position, I think that their weakness would be in the middle running the ball. So hopefully Saquon can do his thing today. Rain in the forecast, that I think that yields for some more touches for Saquon Barkley. Also can't forget that he's a pass catcher out of the backfield. And I look to see a little bit more of that this year. We didn't see enough of that last year. Now, Tony Pollard, I said this in the opening, man, led the league in yards per touch. He was 3rd in the NFL in yards per carry as far as running backs go. 5.9 yards per touch, 5.4 yards per carry. Takes the number 1 role this year, and the Giants were extremely awful against the run last year. Now, we have made some upgrades out there. We brought in Bobby O at middle linebacker, which is definitely going to help. You saw the immediate impact in the preseason with him being there at linebacker over guys like Jalen Smith. And then also, I think, I'm high on the Isaiah Simmons, trade, and I thought it was an awesome trade for the New York Giants, right? But I do think that, Giants fans think that he's, plug and play, right now. He can go out here and be able to cover one of the top pass catchers, from the Dallas Cowboys, which I just don't see that. And also stepping up and playing a big role in stopping the run. I worry about how much Kayvon Thibodeau has enhanced his ability to seal the edge on the runs. So I do think Tony Pollard, he has a possible chance of having an even bigger day than Saquon Barkley. And last but not least, I'm just going everybody at Houston. This is it. If you're playing against the Cardinals today and you're playing against the Houston Texans today, I'm all for it. So I like J.K. Dobbins. Houston Texans had the worst run defense in the league, damn near averaging 140 or 150 yards allowed per game on the ground. That's not good. I don't think DeMeco Ryans can fix that in just 1 week. J.K. Dobbins has had problems staying healthy, but over his career has averaged 5.9 yards per carry. So if he's going to have a big day, it should be early on in the season when he's extremely healthy and at 100%. So I like J.K. Dobbins today as well.
I am a big believer in J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins is going to end up being a top 10 running back this year. I really think this is the year when he stays healthy. He's absolutely crushing it. So big shout out to J.K. Dobbins. I love that pick. Big shout out to our guy Ray W with the W with the dub. Ray Dub. We appreciate it, Ray Dub, with a $20 super chat. Says appreciate all you guys do. Even you, Beard. Thank you. Authentic.
You,
let me hear it one time.
Let's go, Big Blue.
There we go.
I thought you froze up. I thought you froze up for a second. I was like, did he freeze up?
I was going to let you say it because I'm not
a let's go Big Blue type of guy, but I am a Giants Nation is in the building today. Y'all know what it is, man. Big shout out to Ray W.
You know
one
what?
time.
I'll give you one too. Let's go, Big Blue. Let's go, Big Blue.
Okay, the beer room for the Giants. I told y'all last year, low key, this dude's a Giants fan. I'm telling you. Pull him over here. You ever seen the Dr. Evil meme? Come on, just come over here to the blue side, bro.
Listen, we might work something out for the Commanders.
I thought you was going to say we'll work something out and turn you into a fan.
We might work something out for the Commanders-Giants game if the Commanders lose to the Giants. I might have to wear a shirt during that.
All right, we talked about that last year. You was stunting. Okay.
No, but I have the shirt now.
You
Chris
do
Peace.
have the shirt now. This is facts.
I have the shirt now. So
and you have some Giants hats over there too. You can pair with the shirt.
I'm down to one, man. Those things are selling
you got
like
one.
hotcakes.
Let me get that jump.
Big shout out to JJ Stengel wants to know Brandon Ayuk or Quentin Johnson. I need to know what Quentin Johnson's role in this offense is going to be with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, but I do like him for the future. But I'm gonna go Brandon Ayuk this week.
Yeah, right there with you.
C-Bands never stay lacking. Says James Conner or Zay Flowers at flex. I think this is easy. I got Conner in my sits, and we're playing Zay Flowers. Flowers for everyone. Zay.
Over Conner. Yeah, I mean, the Cardinals shouldn't score a lot of points, and you're going to need touchdowns. So, yeah, I'm with you on that. Let's go Zay Flowers. I think he gets one today.
And then Roman wants to know Dalvin Cook or Scary Terry. I think that's a tough one.
Cook.
I'm going to go Cook. We're going to go Cook week one, and we're going to let Terry's toe not scare us first before we start plugging in over Dalvin Cook. All right, let's do a little catching up with the top wide receivers for week one. Hit me. Position that our wonderful Authentic has played a little bit of in his career as a football player. That's a wide receiver position.
I'm a bit of a little slash Cordell Stewart type vibes out here.
Hey.
But I ain't playing no damn defense. Don't get it twisted. I ain't gonna be out here tackling nobody.
See, your boy The Beard played every single play on the field. I was middle
Iron Man
linebacker,
football.
tight end, long snapper. I was on the kickoff team and the kick return team. Your boy played every play.
Yo, my junior year, they had me at 5'3", 135 pounds playing long snapper because I could play quarterback. They're like, you could throw it over your shoulder. You could throw it that way too then. I'm like, man, I'm snapping that ball. You couldn't hit the center back in my day, though, so it wasn't too terrible. But I do remember some times running down the middle of that field like, yo, somebody about to take my head off out here one time.
So, Authentic, tell us who you got at the wide.
We're gonna go on my wide receivers first. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to do wide receivers first. We have a poll up for the people in the chat on the wide receiver.
We don't got the poll just yet, but by the time you get to yours, we'll have that poll. You know what? Before we get off into the wide receivers, let me end the first poll and let's just see where the running back numbers ended at. And I'll get the. You know what? You go first. Let me get the poll set up.
I will
you
go first. Because the poll workers are on lunch break right now, so we're going to.
Not me setting up the poll. I'm just sending out the text messages.
All right, these are my wide receivers that are must starts in week one. I'm going to start off with an obvious one, which probably everybody knows. You don't need to know, but if you need to know, we're going to let you know. Justin Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. We're going to go with Justin Jefferson. He's projected for 22.8 points this week. He's going up against the 24th ranked defense versus wide receivers. So he should eat. I think your only worry is going to be if that game gets out of hand too early and we see a little bit more of Madison than we do in the passing game. But the Vikings have been known to pass the ball just pass the ball. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, I'm going to have a couple of guys that are under the radar. Devonta Smith. We all talk about A.J. Brown, but I think Devonta Smith ends up having a great year. He had a great year last year, but I think he doubles down on that year. I think there's going to be a lot of focus on A.J. Brown. I like the matchup. I think the New England Patriots are overrated as a team defensively and offensively. So I think
though, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
We go see.
I don't know about that. Overrated as a defense. Man, I don't know about that. I don't co-sign that one. I don't co-sign that one. Okay?
It's okay. I'm out on New England. But my guy, you should probably bet on him as long as he's not betting on anything else, and that's Mr. Calvin Ridley. Welcome back to the NFL, Calvin. I think Calvin Ridley is going to torch defenses this year, which is why I'm so high on this Jacksonville offense. The progression of Trevor Lawrence, adding a few pieces, Evan Ingram, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, Tank Bigsby as a backup running back to Travis Etienne Jr. I just think this offense is poised for big numbers, and I think Calvin Ridley is going to be a part of that. And I think it's going to start this week against the Indianapolis Colts. So, what's the poll results on that running back position?
I'm glad you brought that up because I see a comment here from my buddy Stephen White one time, which I don't think this is quite accurate right here. So Saquon did win the poll. 61% of the chat thinks Saquon will be the top fantasy running back of week 1. Let's talk about Saquon Barkley versus Dallas just real quickly before we morph back into this wide receiver thing, okay? If you remove the game that Saquon got hurt where he twisted his ankle, I believe, right at the end of the first quarter against the Dallas Cowboys, Saquon Barkley in 7 games has been averaging against the Cowboys 83.5 yards, 4.5 yards per carry on just 13.2 attempts per game. So y'all know I'm a vocabulary type of dude. I like to harp on the certain words, right? There's no way we can say that these numbers sucked, right? We can't say that, right? 13 carries, 83.5 yards per game. He has not won against the Dallas Cowboys, but I think that he's probably the last of the reasons on that list of why the New York Giants have not beaten the Dallas Cowboys while Saquon Barkley has been on the field. So take that into consideration. And I think there's a reason why Saquon Barkley is 61% of the poll chose him. Half of that being, we're a little bit biased over here. Shout out to the gang. Y'all know what it is. All right, my wide receivers. You said Justin Jefferson. That's a gimme. I don't care that the Bucs had the 9th ranked pass defense last year. That's not going to matter. I do care that the Giants held Justin Jefferson to just 47 yards on 9 targets in the playoffs last year. That was amazing. Shout out to the gang one more time. But the magic number today for Justin Jefferson, and it's a magic number for us Giants fans as well. This man has 2 Super Bowls, 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Eli Manning, he wore this number as well. The magic number is 10. When Justin Jefferson is given at least 10 targets, the Vikings went 9-2 last year. They were 6-1 when he had at least 10 receptions, and they were 9-1 when he had at least 100 yards receiving. I do see Justin Jefferson getting to 100 yards today. He's probably going to be the number 1 fantasy wide receiver of the week. I got a couple other guys I want to bring up here. Now, the Beard used to do this last year a lot, and I used to be like, man, why are you doing that? And this week I understood why he was doing that. So in my second slot, I got 2 wide receivers from the same team here because it's kind of I don't really know which one's going to get more work here today. CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks versus the New York Giants. I'm a realistic fan, y'all. I'm humble enough to say that these guys can come out here against 2 rookies and be able to put up some big numbers possibly. So you got to keep that in mind. Dory Jackson going to be in the slot. The Giants secondary was better at home. That is one thing that the Giants have on their side. They only allowed 188.8 passing yards per game. I'd say we got better, but I also would say Dallas got better. I do like that matchup, though, with CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. I think that I'm leaning a little bit more towards CeeDee Lamb, but Brandon Cooks can get some big plays today against the Giants secondary. Number 1, without a doubt, is going to be my man DJ Moore. Like I told you, I'm all in. I pushed all the chips to the pile for the Chicago Bears this year. DJ Moore versus Green Bay. He showed his yak ability in the preseason, obviously, but this is the thing that was really puzzling to me when I did a little bit of a deep dive on DJ Moore's numbers. His yak has constantly declined year by year since entering the league, and his drops have gotten worse. His drops have increased since entering the league. Now, you can look at the quarterback play over in Carolina. It wasn't fantastic. DJ Moore is entering his 6th season. He was drafted in 2018. Now, his yards per catch has, per reception. It went from 2018 being 7.7 to last year being 2.9, which that's a drastic drop off. Now, the average depth of target has increased throughout his entire career. It went from 9 yards his rookie year all the way to 13 yards last year. So if you're deeper down the field, that kind of makes sense. that the yak is going to be less. The drops have increased. He went from 3 to 4 to 7 to 10 in 2021 to 7 drops in 2022. So a young quarterback like Justin Fields, we don't need DJ Moore out there dropping the ball. But if you start to see DJ Moore get a case of the drops this year, just remember Awthentik told you so. And I'm going to be a very angry man because I'm looking at DJ Moore as my number 1 wide receiver. In 2 games versus the Packers, just 2 games versus the Packers, DJ Moore, 15 receptions on 19 targets, 251 yards. So I look for him to have a big, monstrous day today versus the Green Bay Packers and show up and be the number 1 wide receiver this week in fantasy.
Let's go. DJ Moore season is officially underway, ladies and gentlemen. Big shout out to my guy, Beast of Beard, and Sean for that $9.99 super chat. Says that beard, though.
Gang.
Clean, though.
Keep it clean,
Big
though.
shout out to Beast of Beard. And make sure you guys follow him on Instagram and on whatnot. Appreciate the love, brother. And we got a question from Harry Baker. Says, PPR flex, Romeo Dobbs, Addison, Gibson, or Deion Jackson?
Dobbs coming in banged up this week, right?
Banged up.
I like
I'm
Addison,
surprised
Deion
he's
Jackson.
I like Gibson.
Yeah, I think that it's contradictory, though, because you're so high on Brian Robinson being a top
Robinson.
running back.
But
there's no
PPR
way
is
Brian
what
Robinson's a
throws
top
me.
back, and then Gibson will get a good dosage of what's happening with Washington's offense.
It's the PPR that's getting me. I think Gibson catches some passes today.
How many do you think he's? You think he's gonna get like 5?
4. I think he gets about 4,
About 4?
maybe 5.
Okay.
That's 4. That's 4 points right there. We're gonna go Deion Jackson.
I like Deion Jackson off the
Deion
volume. Like I
Jackson.
told you,
We're
that read option and RPO with Anthony Richardson, man, is looking like teams are just like, nope, I don't care what that running back does. Stop the quarterback.
We are gonna go Deion Jackson for sure. I think we're gonna go Deion Jackson. Look, you've made Joe Deals a very, very happy Chicago Bears fans. So.
My God, you already know what it is, man. Just keeping it 100 with you, man. I'm telling you, I was studying Fields. I was hoping before we signed Daniel Jones, I was like, man, let's make a play, bro. If they not going to trade away that first-round pick or that number 1 pick and they go draft Bryce Young, man, let's see what it's going to cost to bring in Justin Fields. That kid is, I'm telling you, look, I think, and this is going to sound like a crazy, egregious statement here. I think that Justin Fields has the potential to be a more dynamic player than Patrick Mahomes. With his running capability, if he can get the throwing stuff down with a number 1 wide receiver like DJ Moore out there, I'm telling you, just turn on the tape. This kid ran for over 1,000 yards last year, and he made it look easy. Look at the runs he had against the Packers. Look at the runs he had against the Detroit Lions. He is smoking players from the quarterback position. Dare I say he could be more dynamic than a Lamar Jackson as well. I think he has the more natural arm than a guy like Lamar Jackson. Now, Patrick Mahomes does have the 1-up, 2-up, 3-up possibly when it comes to throwing the football, but the mobility that Justin Fields brings to the table, if they can just hone it all in and put it all together in one package, I think Justin Fields is without a doubt going to be a top fantasy quarterback this year.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think he's going to be one of the top end fantasy quarterbacks this year, and I think they surrounded him with a good cast. I think it's kind of undervalued. What they brought in some other tight ends too. They've added some depth to that tight end room. You guys know I love Cole Kmet, ex-Notre Dame guy. I'm expecting a big year from him. We're both pretty high on Darnell Mooney. I think Darnell Mooney plays better now that DJ Moore is there. The question mark is going to be, can another Notre Dame guy in Chase Claypool have the year that he had as a rookie in Pittsburgh? That's going to be a big question mark for them. And then obviously the offensive line, which they did make some improvements in the offseason. A bunch. So,
they brought in Nate Davis. They drafted a right tackle, I believe it was. And then defensively, you also got to look at what a good defense can do for a quarterback. The Bears were one of the worst defenses last year. They went out there, they got Edmonds, they got Edwards. They've upgraded in a lot of positions on that defense. I expect them to be better there and not have Justin Fields in these situations where he's down by 2 scores late in these games after playing a hell of a first half. So I'm hyped for Justin Fields this year. I hope it all comes together for him. It reminds me a lot of what Jalen Hurts did last year and how you called that with Jalen Hurts last year as well.
Yeah, I think I see a lot of similarities in that situation. And then obviously, I mean, Joe Deals brought this up. I didn't want to, put this, to rest without talking about the running backs that they have in Chicago too. We're both big Khalil Herbert guys. And Roschon Johnson is a guy a lot of people have high hopes for coming in as a running back, as a rookie to kind of, add a little bit of extra depth to that running back room. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting first week as far as fantasy goes. Don't forget, if you guys do have any other fantasy football questions, you guys can get those to us in the chat. As we go through, we're going to pick each and every game. We're going to pick the over, the under. We're going to pick the winner and, go against the spread as well. And then once we wrap that up, we'll do a rapid fire with any questions that you guys have as far as fantasy football goes to round things out.
Who do you think won the poll for the wide receivers?
I think Justin Jefferson probably. I think it was pretty easy.
Justin Jefferson, 68%.
How much is going to be? How much was it?
68%.
Yeah.
Who you
number
think came
two?
in at number 2? Who you think? I had Ridley, CeeDee Lamb, and Devonta Smith.
Ridley.
Yep, Calvin Ridley, 13% of the votes. CeeDee Lamb and Devonta Smith both had 9%.
Interesting. Shout out to the poll workers. Shout out to those of you that are voting.
Yeah, they need a raise.
I think this is going to be something we're gonna be doing every Sunday now. And shout out to everybody who's watching us. We got 71 people watching us across all the platforms. So shout out to all the 71 of y'all.
71 of y'all. Make sure you make your trip to 7-Eleven. Make sure you're sitting in front of your TV at 7:30 before them New York Giants get to take the field tonight against the Dallas Cowboys. Make sure you're an hour early.
Stephen White wants to know why all the Cowboy hate on CeeDee
No, man,
Lamb.
it's New York. It's New York, bro. You know what it is.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for rapid fire NFL picks. Are you ready? I'm ready.
Give me a hit me. I'm a prove we ready.
Okay. Hit me.
All right, man. Let's get to this first one, man.
Yeah, shout out to
I'm one up on you. Let's keep it funky here. I'm one up on you. I picked them Detroit Lions against the Kansas City Chiefs. We picked all the other games the same, so I'm one up.
You are one up on me. So shout out to the graphics department. You are on cue, graphics department. Our first matchup of NFL season 2023 week 1 is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals, who are 0-0. They are 1.5 point favorites. They are headed to Cleveland. Shout out to the graphics department. The over-under in this game is going to be 46.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Man, I think, is that really the Browns logo, or did the graphics department just decide that's the Browns logo?
Revamped their logo this year.
They
Again, that
you.
little stupid little elf, they got rid of him. They were like, what? How can we show up to a physical game like this with a little stupid little elf kicking his little curly boots up? No, ain't no way.
Look, that reminds me of one of the first beers I ever drank as a kid, and that looks like a Red Dog right there.
That definitely looks like a good Red Dog right there. Malt liquor for your boy.
Yeah. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals to cover the 1.5. I'm going to take the under 46.5.
I'm going upset alert, man. I'm taking the Cleveland Browns today. Deshaun Watson going to come out here and show y'all the quarterback that he once was from 2020. Give me the Browns straight up in this one, and I think it's going to be a little bit of a high-scoring affair. I'm taking the over one time. We are going to get there.
Wow, we are starting off on fire here on the opposite ends of the spectrum as far as Cincinnati and Cleveland goes.
I know you a Joe Burrow, big Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals fan. I know you got them tiger stripes up under that Redskins jersey over there.
Man, well, one of my other teams is up next, and I don't think it's going to be faring too well for them. That's going to be the Houston Texans. I almost called them the Texas Texans. The Texas Texans are headed up to Baltimore to face the Ravens. The Ravens are a whopping 9.5 point favorites. Damn. The over-under is 43.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
Listen, man, I'm feeling the upsets this week for sure, but I'm damn sure not picking the Houston Texans to win this game. The Ravens are definitely going to win this one in blowout fashion. Give me the Ravens and give me the over 43.5. I'm going to spot you I'll spot you 6 on the over one time. I think the Ravens are going to go crazy today.
All right, I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens. Minus the 9.5.
Fan. You was about to be trying to find some angles.
I wanted to take the Texans to cover, but I'm not there quite yet.
Don't do it.
I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens to cover the 9.5. If you want to take a dart throwing session, take the Texans to cover 9.5. 9.5 is a lot of points, but I'm going to go Baltimore minus the 9.5. I'm also going to take the over. I think Texans end up to find a way to put up some garbage time points. As much as I hate that phrase, I think they find a way to put some points on the board.
That was your thing last year. No such thing as garbage time.
No such thing as garbage time. I think the Texans put some points up late to get us over that 43.5. Up next is going to be one of the most under-the-radar games, I think, this season. It's going to be the Tampa Bay Bakerneers, who are going to be headed up to Minnesota to face the Vikings. The Vikings are 4.5-point favorites. The over-under is voted 5.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the Bakerneers to cover 4.5. I'm not going to say that they win, but I think they keep this game closer than people believe, and I think they cover the 4.5. Minnesota wins. Give me the over, voted 5.5.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the opposite spectrum of you here. I'm with Kevin the PRF on this one. I'm going to take the Vikings to cover the 4.5, and I'm going to take that under one time. I don't think the Bucs going to be able to put up a lot of points, man. That offense looked like they were struggling in the offseason. Just named their quarterback a couple of weeks ago. Should be an interesting one.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think there's a lot of good matchups. I know it's week 1, and there's a lot of unknowns. I think there's a lot of good matchups, including this next one. The Carolina Panthers headed to Atlanta. The Falcons are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is an underwhelming 39.5 points. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
Man, I've been looking at a lot of tape of Bryce Young, man, in the offseason. Shout out to JT O'Sullivan in the quarterback school, man. He broke down so many preseason quarterbacks. It was awesome to just have a new quarterback being broken down every day by a professional like that. I recommend everybody go subscribe to the QB School. They're a great channel breaking down tape if you're interested in that stuff and the nuances of the quarterback position. I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers in this one, man. I'm going to keep the under because I don't think they'll score a lot of points. But I think there's going to be a tough, ugly game. We get to see the debut of Bijan Robinson, get to see what he can do on the ground. But I just think that the Carolina Panthers had a better quarterback situation. Bryce Young can make all the throws, man. He really can make all the throws, and he doesn't have to have his feet planted to do so. So I think the Panthers come out here today and they surprise.
I'm a big believer in both these quarterbacks. I like Desmond Ridder a lot. I've liked Desmond Ridder since I saw him in college. Ever since I saw him go into Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame that year, he just has that. He has that Jalen Hurts factor that I saw in Jalen Hurts when he was a young quarterback. Like that kind of made me gravitate towards him as potential. So I like Desmond Ridder. I think that they got some opportunities to put some points up here. I think that defense is a little suspect. I like Carolina to cover. I think this is a 3-point win for Atlanta Falcons. So I think Carolina covers at 3.5. I think Atlanta wins, and I think we go over 39.5 points in this game. So up next is the biggest game of the week. It is
Giants Cowboys. Bears Packers. Bears Packers. Gotta be Bears Packers, right?
It's the Arizona Cardinals headed to a sold-out FedEx Field.
Y'all been way too hype about just selling out your stadium, man. It's been tough times here.
It's been tough times. Tough times. Those times are no longer tough. I am hyped. I am excited for my Washington Commanders, who are 7-point favorites. The over-under is 37.5.
Damn.
Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the Commanders minus the 7, and I'm taking the over. Commanders win 30-10. Spike better care.
Spike better care. Yeah, he better care because Washington is going to be 1-0 by the time this game is over for damn sure. I got to go with you on this one. I'm taking Washington. Cardinals just don't got enough firepower. New coach. Coach looks a little bit kind of like he's not ready for the big spotlight yet. Mr. Gannon out here saying crazy stuff. What do you say? We got to go out here. We need killers out there on the field. Come chill out, bro. This isn't, what was it called? What was the gate that happened in New Orleans with my man Greg Williams over there where they were trying to take Brett Favre's head off? Yeah, we're not trying to do all that. Go out there and play good football. Bounty gate. But the Washington Commanders are going to start the year 1-0 after seeing the Cardinals here in week 1.
Shout out to the Commanders. Go out there and get it done. Up next, this is an interesting game because I'm very high on the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're headed up to Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson. All eyes are on Anthony Richardson.
Hardaway.
Shout out to Penny. That's my guy. That's our guy. The Colts, this is a typo on behalf of the graphics department. The Jaguars, are favored by 4.5 in this game. The over-under is 45.5, which to me is a little surprising that over-under is so high. I'm going to take Jacksonville to cover the 4.5. I'm going to go under 45.5 in this game.
Okay, just got an update on Odell Beckham. He's off the injury report. Looks like he's going to play today. And Mark Andrews is still questionable. I know you're a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. Did they rule out Mark Andrews?
Mark Andrews is out. I believe Mark Andrews is
He's
out.
out. Okay, yeah. Got you. I know you're a Jaguars fan, bro, and you're going to be rooting for your boy T-Law, in this game. But I got to root for my guy, man, Anthony Richardson. I thought he was like the top quarterback, in this draft class. I think he's going to present some problems with his legs today. Do what you got to do with this read option, man. I'm picking the Colts in an upset on this one, man, and I'm going to take, let me see, this one will probably be like 23-20, so we'll be just right under the under.
So we're both on the under, but you like the Colts. I'm excited. I did draft Anthony Richardson to be my backup quarterback, just in case he comes out here and just starts to blow people away with his legs and then starts tossing some touchdowns. So I like him as a prospect now. I mean, he earned the right to start the job over, one of my favorite players in the National Football League, and Gardner Mustache Magic Minshew. So shout out to Anthony Richardson. All eyes will be on you. Up next is going to be a game that I think is going to be quite entertaining defensively. If you like a little bit of a boom, boom, boom sort of game. I like you added
that defensively.
That's going to be the San Francisco 49ers, who are 2.5-point favorites. They are headed to Pittsburgh to face the Steelers. The over-under in this game is 41.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game outright, and I am going to take the under 41.5.
That's an upset. That's an upset, man. You got Pittsburgh winning this game. Let me tell y'all something that is absolutely ridiculous that not enough people are talking about. You turn on your TV and all you hear is, Daniel Jones had 15 touchdowns last year. Oh, my God, Daniel Jones, he needs more passing touchdowns. Oh, blah, 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 blah. The Pittsburgh Steelers had 12 passing touchdowns as an entire freaking team last year. And Mike Tomlin found a way to get them to 9 wins, which is completely insane, okay? One of those touchdowns was thrown by Chase Claypool. 2 quarterbacks throwing 11 touchdowns. I'm higher on Kenny Pickett this year. I think he's going to play well. From the tape that I've studied from Kenny Pickett, he struggles against zone. I've been telling people that all offseason. So if he could correct those mistakes, he'll see himself in a better position to have a good season this year. But not today. Not today. This 49ers defense is going to come out here hyped up. I got the 49ers winning this one. I'm going to take the under, though, in this one, under 41.5.
Up next, going to be the Tennessee Titans headed down to Nolens to face the Saints. The Saints are 3-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 41.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to take the Saints. Give me the Saints. Give me the Saints to cover. I'm going to take the over 41.5. I think this is going to be an exciting game, actually. It'll be interesting to see this new-look Saints. I think Derek Carr plays extremely well inside the domes. So I'm going to take the Saints -3 and give me the over 41.5.
These next 2 games are the most difficult for me to pick, man, on the whole entire slate today. Titans have the upgrade that they brought in D-Hop and whatnot, and to pair that with Treylon Burks is really awesome. You get with the Saints, you get Michael Thomas coming back. Everyone's hoping he could possibly get back to his, I'd say, pre-2020 form. It's been about 2 seasons. This guy really hasn't done too much. Jamal Williams in the backfield should be able to hold it down while Kamara is out. I really want to pick the Saints, but I think I'm going to go Tennessee Titans in this one. Give me the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to take the over in this one. I think the score is going to be about 28-20. I'm going to take the Titans.
Now, I'm going to agree with you about this next game. This next game is super difficult. I just don't know what to expect out of either one of these teams. That's the Las Vegas Raiders headed to Denver to face the Broncos. The Broncos are 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is 43.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to say that game's at 4 o'clock, actually, but I'll double-check that. I'm going to go with the Denver Broncos to win. Raiders to cover the 3.5. So I think Denver wins by a field goal, and I'm going to take the over 43.5. That's a tough game.
That game is at 4 o'clock. It's so hard to gauge what's going to happen with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. Can they get back on track? Last year, Russell Wilson was one of the worst quarterbacks inside the red zone, had a very down year, to say the least. I don't know really what to expect from Jimmy Garoppolo and the Raiders. They do got some weapons. You can't forget they still got Devontae Adams over there. They scooped up your boy Michael Mayer in the draft. I think they got some weapons out there. I'm going to take the Raiders in this one to win this one. And as far as the over-under, I think it'll be a low-scoring game, so I'm going to take the under. I don't think the Broncos are going to put up too many points in this one.
Up next, we're getting reports that it might be torrential downpours in this game. That is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, who are 3.5-point favorites. They're headed up to New England to face the Patriots in this maybe possibly overrated defense. The over-under is going to be 44.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to take the Eagles minus the 3.5. I think they cover that easily. I'm going to take the under, and I'm going to see if I'm wrong about this New England Patriots defense being overrated. And if it's a sloppy game, that might help New England more so than it does the Eagles. But I'm taking the Eagles to cover that spread. Give me the under.
I'm with you on it. I like the Eagles by the 3.5, which is really good. And I'm going to take the under on this one as well. The Giants fans, man, put your scouting caps on and watch this game because we're going to have to see both of these teams later in the season, one of them twice, obviously. And before we see the Eagles twice, we're going to see the New England Patriots. So keep your scouting shirt on, pull out the collar, check this game out. I think that this is not a game where we can come to a determination whether the Patriots defense is overrated, but I do think they're going to hang close. But I still think Philly should cover this one. Philly is the better team on paper, and they should be the better team on the field. So give me the Eagles in this one.
Up next is going to be the Los Angeles Rams. They are headed up to Seattle to face the Seahawks. Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites. The over-under is 45.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to go with the Seahawks to win, Rams to cover. I think this is a 3-point win for Seattle. I think the Rams come out here and surprise a lot of people. Keep your eyes on Cam Akers. I want to see how much Cam Akers plays in this game, and if we're going to get the Cam Akers that I believe is the real deal, or if we're going to get the Cam Akers that Sean McVay just does not like to play. So that's going to be a big thing that I'm going to be watching this game. Give me the Seahawks to win, Rams to cover. Give me the over 45.5.
All right, so you got Rams covering, but you got the Seahawks winning, and you taking the over in this one. I'm going to go with the under. I think the Seahawks will be the team putting up some points on the board in this one. A lot of people sleeping on Geno Smith. I'm starting to see that, man. He's available in a lot of leagues. People don't think that he's really the solid quarterback that he really is. I even had a debate, one of my homies that said Geno Smith is no good. I'm like, damn, dog, it's like that. This was the most accurate quarterback in all of the NFL last year with a completion percentage of 79. He's got more weapons now when you add JSN to the room. Give me the Seahawks cover, but I'm going to take the under.
This next game is very tough. This game is moving around a little bit as far as the spread goes. This is the Miami Dolphins headed to Los Angeles to face the Chargers. The Chargers are 3-point favorites. The over-under in this game is going to be 50.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is one of the tougher games for me to pick, too, because I'm a big fan of both of these quarterbacks. I'm going to take the Chargers to win. I wouldn't bet this game at -3. If it was -3.5, I might even take the Dolphins to cover. I think this is going to be a 3-point game. I think the Chargers win by 3. I am going to take that over 50.5. I think this game gets pretty wild late.
Man, can I call a tie on this one possibly, man? Damn,
hey, listen, you can. I heard people predicting the records this season, giving people ties and record predictions.
Like, come on, dog. I don't know, man. This is a tough matchup. You got a new offensive coordinator with the Chargers. Kellen Moore should come here and be able to stretch the field. You know, Justin Herbert had one of the lowest yards per attempt last year, lowest ADOT. You know, just not a great season for Justin Herbert, but he did put up some decent numbers with 2 of his best weapons out. He's got them back in this game. Man, Tyreek Hill has just been a monster. Put up 1,800 yards last season. I'm going to take the Dolphins in this one. I think it's a big spot for Tua. He's got to show that he belongs. I'm going to take the Dolphins in this one, and 50.5. Let's take the over. 30-28. We'll go 30-28. We'll go 30-26 Dolphins.
Fun in the sun. All right, our next game is going to be the Green Bay Packers headed to Chicago to face Awthentic's Bears. The Bears are 1.5.
Don't even do that. You know that's how they doing me on Twitter too. Like if it was one of your quarterbacks that you like, you wouldn't be talking about him like this. If it was Justin Fields or Anthony Richardson, they hate me when I talk about them.
The Bears are 1.5 point favorites. The over-under is 41.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think this game's going to be awesome, fun to watch. Even without Christian Watson, I think this is going to be a quarterback battle that a lot of people are going to be talking about by the end of the day going into Monday. Give me the Green Bay Packers to win. Last second field goal and give me the over.
If that happens, I'm going to be so in my feelings, yo. Give me the Bears in this one. Y'all know I've been talking about the Bears all day, man. I'll take the Bears. 41.5. Let me see. Fields could probably get to about 24. Yeah, I got to take the under on this one.
All right. Up next, it's the game I'd say 75% of the people here are waiting for. It is the Dallas Cowboys, who are 0-0. They are 3.5-point favorites. They are headed to New York to face Awthentic's Giants.
Damn right.
The over-under in this game is 45.5. Kickoff is at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentic, tell me what you got.
45.5, man. I think we're going to get there. I picked, 26-24 on the show for my New York Giants. Now, I'm not walking into this game, extremely confident. I saw some people in the comment section on the last video like, man, you guys think you guys are going to beat my Dallas Cowboys? It's been 10 straight for Dak Prescott, man. I'm like, yo, I don't know where you got all that arrogance and confidence from, because I'm not that confident coming into this game. But it is week one. If there's a time for me to be confident against a NFC East rival, I think week one is it. Hopefully we can catch the Cowboys slipping with this new system that my man Mike McCarthy put in, when we were about to hire Joe Judge, I was high on Mike McCarthy. I was like, bring Mike McCarthy in, but a lot of Giants fans seem to not like Mike McCarthy. I'd be prepared for a heavy dosage of the run with Tony Pollard, and you got to find a way that these rookie cornerbacks are going to be able to stick with these wide receivers out there today. I think it's going to be a close game, but give me my Giants outright, and I think they'll win this one 26-24.
I think I hated on Dallas a little too much in our previous episodes so far in Season 5 of Awthentik and The Beard.
Maybe those comments were for you, man.
Yeah. I'm going to let those carry on for just a couple more minutes here, and then we'll get to some reality throughout the rest of the season maybe on Dallas. I'm going to take the New York Giants. I took the Giants to win. I think my prediction was 23-20 or 23-21 Giants.
Yeah, 23-20 I believe was. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Giants to win this outright, and I'm going to take the under 45.5. I think weather's going to be interesting to watch in this game. It's going to be a turnover battle. Whoever wins a turnover battle, I think, wins this game. So I'm going to go with the Giants to win with the upset, but give me the under. So good luck to all the Giants fans and Cowboys fans here in the chat today. We appreciate you guys. And Monday Night Football, man, they got it right with this one.
Yeah,
it should be a great game. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills, who are 2.5-point favorites. They're headed to New York to face the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. The over-under is 45.5. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Got some tomatoes from Kellen No More.
I got the tomatoes. Don't throw tomatoes at me, because it's a pain to get that stuff out of my beard, man. I'm going to take the Jets. I love the Bills. I've always been a big fan of the Bills and what they are doing up there and their turnaround as a franchise. It's just so tough in the AFC. But I don't think that there's a way that the Jets and Aaron Rodgers lose on Monday night after this sort of offseason. So I'm going to take the New York Jets to win. And I'm going to take the over 45.5.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the over in this one. Two great quarterbacks going up against each other, man. And I'm a big fan of the Hard Knock series that featured the Jets this year. It was just awesome to see that type of cinematography and that type of storytelling, within the NFL. And also got to see my Giants on the 4th episode, which was really cool. I recommend anybody who hasn't seen that Hard Knocks featuring the Jets to go check out the 5 episodes. Very easy watch. You get to see a lot of the dynamic between that team and how they feel about bringing in a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. And I think the hype that's surrounding them is legit. I'm taking the Jets in this one. I think it'll be an extremely close game. And I'm going to take the over 45.5 for sure.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of Rapid Fire 4 Awthentik and The Beard. We appreciate everybody in the chat chiming in, too. You guys are awesome. The chat's just going with their picks and everything like that. I love it. I love it. I love it. We want to make sure we get you guys out of here in time to, make some last-minute bets, any adjustments that you all need to make for your fantasy lineups. Most importantly, enjoy the game. Enjoy the game, okay? Sometimes, it's week one. It's the first week of the season. Sometimes we all get upset and get in our feelings and everything gets crazy. Don't break any TVs in week one, okay? Just enjoy football. We are here because we love football. Obviously we love our own teams, but Awthentik and I love the game of football.
Facts.
So we will be watching all football. It's going to be great. Obviously, I'm happy for Awthentik and the Giants fan base that supports us here at Awthentik and The Beard for getting a primetime game to start the season off. It's
Awesome.
going to be so much easier to just let all that football digest all day and then watch your team on primetime. So shout out to everybody in the chat who's a Giants fan, a Cowboys fan. You guys got a lot of bit of love here. But yeah, I'm excited, man. And this was a great first episode of the Parlay. We want to thank you guys so much for being part of this. Awthentik, let them know what's up.
Man. Shout out to everybody, man, for showing up week one with us, man, rocking with us throughout the offseason, supporting these videos, man. All the newcomers that have pulled up. Today we hit 3,300 subs, man, so we couldn't do that without y'all. Shout out to the moderators. Shout out to the gang. Shout out to the Giants Nation, all the commanders that support us, man. I never thought that this channel was going to be like this. I remember when The Beard just told me, like, hey, man, let's start a football podcast. And I was like, all right, let's try it out, man. And here we are. 5 seasons later, we're here after talking about all the hog mollies and all that, drafting 2 first-round quarterbacks and whatnot, man. And we still here. We still going strong, man. And y'all know where to find us. We're going to be here 4 days a week during the season, dropping a ton of recorded content as well.
Tomorrow,
y'all definitely want to pull up for the Giant Overreaction. That's going to be a good one. I can't let the cat out the bag just yet. We waiting on some things, but that's going to be a solid show. So make sure y'all pull up tomorrow. The time should be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but put that notification bell on, man. And on your way out, if you, didn't hit the like button while you were here, hit that like button so we can get these streams out there in the algorithm on YouTube, in the YouTube universe. Get some more eyes on this one, man. You got any more words before we get up out of here?
no, just put those biceps in the chat. That's all we can ask for.
I was going to say, I see the robot biceps from the homie Edward Squires and Kevin the PRF. That's one of my favorites. Y'all know what to do, man. Put them biceps in the chat. Represent the gang, the left side.
Strong side.
Duo is in the building, man. Y'all keep living those dreams, man. Keep raising that bar, man, because the universe flows in Technicolor and surround sound. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, my guy, Combat Jack. Shout out to the homie Premium Pete. Y'all know what it is over here, man. Enjoy these games, man. Enjoy these games. I'm glad we here, man. It flew by. I can't even say it took too long to get here to the season. It flew by, man. And much love to all of y'all who come here and support me and The Beard while we just get to talk football. 2 best homies just get to chop it up, talk football, and actually have people actually watch us talk football. It's kind of amazing, man. I know my father would be extremely proud of this because he used to always just talk into cassette tapes that he thought he was going to send back to Haiti. And this was pre-internet days, man. So, to see me out here talking football 4 days a week, I'm sure he's very happy, smiling down on that one, man. So big salute to y'all. Shout out to y'all once again, man. And we will see y'all on Monday for the Giant Overreaction. Don't forget to pull up on Tuesday for the recaps. That's gonna be an amazing show, man. Commanders fans are already thinking they got the dub. Giants fans, we walking into this one, walking into the dark with a cheap flashlight from the dollar store and some batteries that ain't working too well. Not those name brand ones. So y'all, again, enjoy these games, man. I know I will, and we will see y'all on Monday, man. Y'all be good.
Peace.
Peace.
Spike don't care.